to the factory center position. You probably don't really ever need to do this unless somebody else has been in here and they messed it up. And the way that I know mine is messed up is when I use my turn signal and to, for example, turn right, and after I make a right-hand turn, my signal will hang. It doesn't return back to the normal position. That's a good indicator that your steering wheel is not centered. A lot of people will try to use this method that I'm about to describe to fix their alignment, and that is not the purpose of this method. The purpose of this method is to center your steering wheel to factory center, and then you should adjust your alignment from your toe, your camber, check your rear links, make sure everything's in order. This is not a way to align your car. This is a way to get your steering wheel in the center position. So, I've already unscrewed this, but this is normally screwed into here, to this screw. And this actually has instructions on it on how to center your steering wheel. So, the first step it tells you is to position the wheel so that your tires are perfectly straight. Well, I went and took my car for a test drive, and for me, perfectly straight is angled just like this. So that's not obviously ideal, but that's how it is. So we know that this position right here that I have, the tires are perfectly straight. Then you want to lock your steering wheel in place. And on this car, to lock your steering wheel in place, you've got to turn the key and you've got to remove it. You got to actually remove the key. Once you remove the key, the steering wheel will lock. You see there, it locked there. So I want to see if I could lock it closer to where it was when it was straight. Let's try. I don't know if it'll actually do that, but we'll try. This might be as good as I get. Let's see. Yeah, this is as close as I get. Because the other lock position, the next one would be up here like that, which is not, that's obviously not it. So, I'll take it out. I'll lock my steering wheel. Now, if your steering wheel was straight, you would remove this screw from here and you would put it in here so that it holds your steering wheel in place. Holds your steering wheel in proper alignment with your clock spring. This is the clock spring guide, this black thing. My steering wheel is not straight, so it doesn't matter. So the next step I need to do is remove this screw that holds steering wheel on. And I probably will have to put the camera down here because it's kind of a two-man job, but I'm going to remove it, and you want to be really careful. I don't know if you can see, but there's these little plastic tabs in here on both sides. These are part of the clock spring. They're very fragile. This is the airbag wiring. It's also fragile. It used to just be a ribbon, but they've put this one in. They've put some rubber on it to help protect it. So it's less fragile than how they used to be, but still pretty fragile. But I'm going to take this bolt off. Probably going to have to put the phone down. I don't know. Let me see if I can position the phone in a way that you guys can see what I'm doing. We'll give this a try. Let's see if this works. Let's see if I can take this nut off. I already removed it, so it shouldn't be too tight. Yeah, it's already loose. So we'll take it off. Go. And now I've got the nut off, almost. All right, the nut is off. Now what you could do actually is put the key back in And I was going to try to bring this back to where I thought the tires were really, really straight, but let me give it a try. We'll see. This might be wrong. Yeah, see, that's more straight. That's kind of how it was when I was driving and it was straight. So we'll try to keep it there. Now I'm going to remove the steering wheel. You just pull the steering wheel off and you slowly, carefully feed this through. I'm going to try to show you. Might have to edit this out. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. We just kind of pull and feed so this thing comes out. Gotta be careful with it. Obviously, you're dealing with 30-year-old plastic here, guys. It can break so easily. You don't want to break anything. Okay, and well, steering wheel is off. So I've got the steering wheel off. Here's my clock spring guide and my guide and my clock spring. And this is like soft rubber, and you're supposed to use the screw that was on the steering wheel. Use the screw to position this in the center spot. You see, when this hole lines up with this divot, it's center. That's factory center for this. And a lot of people get worried, like, well, what if this moves too far to the right or the left? Not a problem. It has instructions right on here of where to position it and how to position it. It says 2 to 3 turns from either stop. So I'm actually going to turn it both ways because this is an older, this is 30 years old. And this clock spring is a spring. It's worn. And I just want to release the tension both ways. So you can turn it to the right all the way 3 times. And you can turn it the other way all the way. Now the other way, it doesn't stop at the same spot. It stops at a different spot. You'll see once we get there. Here we go. Here. So from either end, it's approximately 2.5 turns to get back to the center for the steering wheel. So watch. 1, that's 1 turn. That's 2 turns and a half, and I'm back. Now if I were to go all the other way, remember I said it's approximately 2.5. So this, and you can tell the spring is worn because it moves, like the movement here is weird, It's not like the rest of it. So really this spring should probably get replaced. It's 30 years old, but I'm not going to replace it today. So I assume it should have stopped somewhere here, but it's got some drag in it. I could feel the drag with my hand. Anyways, 1 is all the way here. 2 is all the way here. And then 3, you're back at center. So you have to make at least 2 turns from where it stops. And then up to another turn, and you're on center, okay? Now, you can see that a previous person, I don't know if you guys see it or not, their screw was not exactly in the middle, okay? And it's actually really, really hard to get a screw in the middle of this. It's very fussy, and the screw that is inside my steering wheel, I don't know if it's too short or someone replaced it, or maybe this rubber has receded over time. I mean, this is just rubber, but when I went to seat this, it's like it didn't sit all the way. I didn't like it. So I've got some longer screws, a handful here of longer screws. I'm going to probably use one of these longer screws. I'll find one that fits through here. This one might fit, whatever. This is just to get you in the right position to put your steering wheel back on in the right position. You don't have to He-Man it down or anything, but you definitely want it in the center. You don't want it to the left or to the right, or even like this or like this. It's got to be perfectly centered. That's where it holds. The problem is that the guide is black. So when you have this here, and once you've got the screw in it, you can't really see. Am I perfectly centered now? Is this perfectly centered? Is this perfectly centered? Is that perfectly centered? It's hard to tell, to be honest. So I'm going to use a longer screw, and I'm also going to make a small mark here in the rubber so that my screw, will feed a little better. And I'll make sure that I want to hit this center piece. I'm going to use a longer screw. I think the screw that's supplied is too short. So I'm going to go offline here for a second and try to pick out the best screw. All right, guys. I fed the steering wheel back on. I put the steering wheel back on. I was gentle, watched out for these plastic pieces, fed this through gently, everything gentle, and I still have the clock spring locked with this screw. But look, my steering wheel is now straight. Remember we started with a crooked steering wheel? Now it's a straight steering wheel. I've lined the steering wheel back up. Now, if there's an alignment issue, it's not the steering wheel, it's just the alignment of the car, which could be a million things. It could be bad tie rods, bad control arms, bad rear end. There's a lot of things. Your frame, subframe bushings. There's a lot of things that can throw you out of alignment. Bad tires. Okay, so now the next step, when you put, by the way, you put the screw in, you should put Loctite on it, the center screw, and you should torque it to 25 foot-pounds and then 30 degrees. Some people said 35 foot-pounds, but it's not some super crazy torque. Okay, now you'll remove this screw, and once you remove it, the steering wheel and the clock spring will be lined up to each other. So you just remove the screw. It's pretty straightforward. And you can tie this back here with this screw like the way it was, so the next person, has it. I would do a test drive before I put the airbag back on, make sure it runs good, which is what I'm going to do, make sure it's straight. And that's about it. It's not super complicated. A lot of people are afraid of the clock spring. You don't have to be afraid of it. You just have to know how to work with it. So this just feeds in like that, and then this will connect to the airbag. So I'm going to do a test drive, and when I'm done with the test drive, if everything is great, I'll take this out again. I'll put my screw in, I'll lock it in place, I'll take this out again, I'll put Loctite on it, and I'll torque it, and then the car will go to the alignment shop. So, but I think it should be pretty close to perfectly aligned now. I'll go see. All right, bye.